faith has not wavered in the 25 years since her daughter's murder. The second time this week, a student at Westfield State University said that they woke up to find a racist message outside of their dorm room. Aside from this metal fence outside the front of the church, you really wouldn't be able to tell that there's really any damage until you take a look up from the sky, where you can see the blue tarps and the scaffolding placed next to the building. People are without a home after a fire tore through 2 houses last night in West Springfield. Good morning and thank you for joining us here on Western Mass News. I'm Cate Mannion. The goal of Pokemon Go is to catch Pokemon, and they can show up anywhere, like this one that popped up here in our newsroom. And I found it really interesting that some of these even showed up outside of the homes of those listed sex offenders. A lot of us might be enjoying this warmer weather because of the nicer days that we've had. Ice actually melted off of this building, crashing onto this car here, creating all of this damage. He used a bedsheet to take his own life, marking the end of a downward spiral from a man once a millionaire football player to a convicted killer. Tonight we are learning more about the apartment building where 3 people lost their lives in a fast-moving fire. Well, Dave and Beth, we learned today that this all began here on Memorial Ave. You can see here, we're told that a police officer say that they spotted a black sedan going about 80 miles an hour here on this street before turning onto Haywood Avenue down that way. That's when the situation escalated here at the Wentworth Estate condominiums. We continue to update that breaking news that we have been following all morning long, where a baby boy has been found safe. His father is now in custody after they activated an Amber Alert earlier this morning. Dave and Beth, you can see and probably hear behind me a demolition crew has gotten working here again in the city of Holyoke. But tonight we are learning a little bit more about this building. Now, the city building inspector says that the first line of defense in a fire is how a building is constructed. That, along with sprinklers, can slow down the flames. But in this case here at 106 Northeast Street, there are no sprinklers to be seen, and the lack of fire stops allowed the flames to move at an alarming rate on New Year's Day. A growing memorial of candles and flowers can be seen as crews continue to search the rubble of 106 Northeast Street.
I completely believe that lives would have been saved if that building was sprinklered.
The brick apartment building, like many in the city of Holyoke, is legally not required to have the system. It requires that any new construction or major renovations will prompt the need for sprinklers. But according to city records, this building was likely built around 1905.
In this building, there was very little fire stopping from everything from the rafters above, the ceiling joist, floor to floor. Basically, the air can talk room to room in a fire.
As the city's building inspector, Cody says he's gone inside of the building to try and track how the fire spread.
We've noticed that the fire has gone from one apartment to another, and two units over, there's more damage and nothing in between because of the way the fire's been able to move around through the air spaces.
He says that this building had an intercom system and that the empty vertical shaft allowed air to move through quickly.
There's nothing stopping the air or the fire and the heat from moving straight through, and the smoke as well.
Cody says proper doors, closing off air spaces, and even reducing airflow through electrical outlets can slow a fire from spreading.
As you know from this story, a matter of 2 minutes is possibly a life.
Fire chief said that just last night here in the city, there was another fire that took place at a hotel, but in that case, there were active sprinkler systems that were able to kick on as soon as that fire happened, keeping the flames at bay until crews arrived. We're told that hotel was able to be open today. Now, coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll take a look at the building's century-long history, including when it was most recently inspected. But for right now, reporting live from Holyoke for Western Mass News, I'm Cate Mannion. The national elevator industry says that there are 35,000 escalators in the United States, but it was this one here at the Holyoke Mall where a young man stopped to help a stranger.
I was going to walk to my car.
Alonzo Johnson was just about to leave the Holyoke Mall on Thursday when he noticed an older man stopped here.
He just looked really terrified.
But instead of just passing by,
something stopped me to just ask him, if he wanted to come down with me.
The man accepted, and as Alonzo took his arm, Paula Picard snapped this photo, which she shared to Facebook.
Donna tried first to get him, a little more comfortable to coming down the stairs, but Alonzo came by at just the right moment and had just the right tone, and it was just so sweet to him.
In the 30 or so seconds that it takes to go from the top floor to the bottom, the two talked. And Alonzo learned the man had some type of an incident where he was once stuck on an escalator.
He was telling me how he was 83, and then I told him that he looked nice. He had told me that to thank you and that to have a nice day, and I was like, likewise to you. And it was really a great moment, and I walked away, and I didn't think anything of it until I was laying on my bed and then everyone's tagging me on Facebook.
Paula's picture has been commented on and shared several thousands of times, to the point where he was actually spotted at the mall today.
I recognize it.
Yeah.
Made me get all teary-eyed at like 10:30 last night. I was like, look at this. How's it going? What's your name?
Alonzo.
Alonzo, pleasure to meet you.
While we weren't able to get in touch with the older gentleman in the photo, if there's a chance that he's watching this story, Alonzo has this to say.
If I were to see him now, I would just give him a hug and be like, look at what we did. Thank you for being a part of something that's bigger than me and him.
As Alonzo says, it seemed like such a small act of kindness. The moment with the man 60 years his junior is one that he won't soon forget.
Don't be afraid to help someone, just at least try, because you never know what somebody is going through.
Reporting in Holyoke for Channel 3 Eyewitness News, I'm Cate Mannion. Into the top of the 7th inning. Right now, a lot of Red Sox fans are happy in Fenway Park behind me. That's because they're currently up 5-0. Again, top of the 7th, so certainly still a bit of the game left here to play, but a really exciting day now. This morning, the first pitch thrown out by Tom Brady, a little bit of switch up of sports. It was great to see a lot of the Patriots players here to celebrate opening day. And we talked to a lot of fans who say that they actually pulled their kids out of school today because many of them have a tradition of coming here year after year, and it wasn't something that they were going to break today. The sign says it all. It's a new era for the Boston Red Sox.
Life after Big Papi.
Since he was 6 months old, TJ and his dad haven't missed an opening day, and they aren't the only ones.
It's a yearly tradition. We do this every year to come to opening day.
Others, like Matthew, had a bit of an apology note for his teachers, as he'll be trading in a school desk for a seat in the grandstands today. As Sox fans hope 2017 will bring a better outcome than the last, Pittsburgh Pirates fans made their trek to Yawkey Way for opening day.
You could just feel the history, and it's just a great experience.
It's Austin and his dad Ray's first time at Fenway, just the third time that the Pirates have even played here. And while he isn't rooting for the home team, Ray says he hasn't gotten any hate for his black and yellow attire.
It's nice to have other people saying, hey, welcome to Fenway. I was surprised at that. I thought people were going to be like, oh, Pirates, but it hasn't been that way, which is nice.
And with a season filled with new talent, fans were excited to see some old favorites while looking ahead to the future.
Just the dominance we're going to put on in the AL East. It's going to be a blast.
And still to come, we caught up with a group of guys who have been coming here for 50 years. They're from the Northampton area, and they say that their friendship, baseball is a big part of that. And it's really interesting. You definitely won't want to miss how much a ticket cost them to visit on opening day back in 1968. It's really pretty astounding compared to what people pay today. So you don't want to miss that coming up at 6 o'clock. But for right now, reporting live from Fenway for Western Mass News, I'm Cate Mannion. Jeff, back to you. Well, Beth, the sign for the prison that you see behind me is where the once NFL superstar Aaron Hernandez, as well as convicted murderer, ended up taking his last breaths. Guards say that he took his own life here, and he certainly isn't the first one to reportedly take their own life in this facility. It was here at the Sousa Baranowski Correctional Facility that former Patriots player Aaron Hernandez took his life. Just 5 days after being acquitted of the double murder of 2 Boston men in 2012, he isn't the first inmate to have taken his life at the maximum security prison. Incidents of violence can be seen in their 2 decades of operation. When it opened in 1998, the prison was seen as one of the most technically advanced in the nation, housing over 1,000 inmates with 366 cameras rolling 24/7. And those cameras were on in January, capturing a riot where guards say inmates were ready for war. Hernandez was not involved. Prison officials say Hernandez was in a single cell in the general population and wasn't on suicide watch. And in the wake of his death, one lawmaker says there needs to be changes made to the current system.
Massachusetts has among the highest suicide rates for prisoners and correction officers.
The prison is in State Senator Jamie Eldridge's district, who, during a surprise visit in December, says he heard many say there's a need for mental health services, especially for those in single cells like Hernandez.
One of the complaints that I heard from a lot of the prisoners is that they don't really have access to mental health services. So people that are going through some psychological crisis or being affected by being in solitary confinement, they're not getting the treatment that they need.
When asked, Eldridge says that it is possible, in his opinion, that Hernandez hadn't taken his own life, something that Hernandez's agent agrees with, saying on Twitter today that he doesn't believe that he could have taken his own life. This comes as Hernandez's attorneys say that they're going to be launching their own investigation into his death, on top of the one that's already being conducted by the district attorney's office. Reporting live from Shirley, Massachusetts for Western Mass News, I'm Cate Mannion. Back to you, Beth.